G.I. Joe, heck yeah, coming again to save the motherfucking day, yeah. G.I. Joe, heck yeah, freedom is the only way, yeah. Hey guys, today we're checking out the G.I. Joe clutch with Vamp. Let's check it out and see if this thing is worth the money. So here we have Clutch with Vamp. They're just generic G.I. Joe characters, none of note. But I really wanted this figure because I love vehicles. I'm a fan of, two of my favorites are the Try-to-Run from SH Figure Arts, which is a phenomenal figure. And also the Akiba Ranger Itashar, which is, once again, another phenomenal figure. That's the gold standard when it comes to vehicles. I also have the Thunder Tank from Super 7, and I have a couple other vehicles. You guys saw my review of Lobo, so you see that I have that and the Batmobile and a couple other vehicles. But let's see if this thing lives up to the high standard that I set for myself when it comes to toy vehicles. But before we get into that, let's take a look at the box and see if it's better than your mother's. This box better than the box he was held in. So on the front of the box, we have Clutch hanging off Vamp. And like I said, I had to do some research. So his name is Lance J. Steinberg, and he's a Corporal E4. And apparently he is a infantry transportation person. Why is any of this important? I guess if you are really a deep cut G.I. Joe fan, you would love to have Clutch. I personally don't care that much. Like I said, I'm here for the vehicle. So you have Clutch hanging off of the Vamp on the front. You get a nice little window to see Clutch in the front and his handgun. On the side, we get a lovely number 112 showing Clutch. On the back, have Clutch, two different helmets, all the stuff that comes in the box. The Vamp, more pictures of the Vamp on the back. On the other side, some nice artwork of Clutch. And on the top, nothing. And on the bottom, nothing. So, is this box better than your mom's? I have to say, G.I. Joe team did a phenomenal job with this. Not the greatest box, but they are displaying the product on the front. Not the most dynamic pose, just kind of like, hey, look at this vehicle, and the character would have liked a better picture, absolutely, or a more dynamic picture, absolutely. But this is a fairly decent box. Now, let's see. What's in the box? So in the box, we get the normal treasure trove that we expect. We have a box of accessories for the Clutch and for Vamp and Clutch, and for Clutch and Vamp. I don't know why I keep saying that wrong. I don't know what's happening to me today. It needs a little, well, not even a little assembly. The only thing that has the frame put together, got to put the wheels on. So let's do that. Snap. So we put the tires on. Now, this may be me, but this is just a little nitpick of mine. When I got this, I'm like, cool, guns, right? Now, I would think that the gun would have the same decal on this side. It doesn't. So my thought is either I have two of the same gun, or they just did it on one side. Either case, I'm a little disappointed. I would have liked to have the gun actually have the decal on both sides. It does if you take this piece off, have it here, but that's not how it's supposed to attach to the gun. So I don't know if I got screwed over or if this is how they're supposed to come, but disappointed. Anyway, we have this awesome vehicle in front of us, and let's check it out. Well, actually, you know what? We're going to check out Clutch first before we get into the Vamp, even though Vamp is the reason why I came here. So we have two bandoliers for the Clutch that I guess sit on the pedestal on there. Two gas cans. that I have to find where they go onto, where they hook onto the truck. Package for it, some headlights, a handle of some sort, I will figure it out, a wrench for clutch, a shotgun that got bent to crap, looks like it belonged to the tank girl, but I'll double check that. We have a shovel, fire extinguisher, some more headlamps, a fire axe, whatever this is, and the other helmet for Clutch, which is super dope. Look at that decal on the side. And then we have Clutch himself with his gun. So first we're going to check out Clutch. Then we're going to put everything together on the Vamp and see if this thing is worth the money. Would you have gotten shot by Mills is the first question, and the answer is no. That was actually a fairly decent amount of accessories. But once again, when you're paying this much for a toy, they better give you a ton of accessories. Yeah. And my stuff is a little warped, but anyway. So let's check out the design. So I'm not familiar with Clutch. I'm not familiar with the Vamp. I just, like I said, I like vehicles. So looking at this, I can't tell if they did a good job or not. But he looks like a Joe. I do like the work done on the tattoos on the arms. They look, once again, not sure if they're accurate. They look cool. I like the detail on the boot. Fairly decent detail all around. This is a really good toy. It looks like he has really good articulation under the vest, but that vest is going to hinder his torso a lot. But that's what comes to be expected with G.I. Joe. The fact that the helmet comes off is phenomenal, which means that you're not replacing heads. You're actually just taking off a helmet and putting this on instead. That's super cool. Awesome design. The Vamp, on the other hand, super phenomenal. Just with the design overall. Really good design. Awesome vehicle. There's not much to say about it. It's a car. I guess the concept of the car is that you can fit, from what I'm looking at, besides people hanging off it, you fit two in the seats, and then someone manning the gun in the back. But other than that, it's a pretty standard vehicle. Let's put it together, and then we can check out if these things can do a squat. Okay, so that's everything put together and everything in its place. Apparently I messed up one thing. I will fix that. But let's go through the design of the Vamp before we go and make sure these things can squat. So here's the Vamp fully assembled. We have these two things, which is amazing. We have, I forget what they're called. I'm just going to call them the hitch, even though I know this is the hitch and hoist. On the front, the tires did not come assembled. Shovel, the pack on the front. I'm pretty sure that's a med kit or something on the side. Inside, we see a bunch of instruments with a gear shift. Does it move? Yes, it does. Cool. The handles attached there so that the vehicle can, so you can have people hanging off, so you can have four people on the vehicle. I put my bullets on that. I'm not sure if that's where it's supposed to go. The pictures are not very clear. It looks like it might have to go inside, but it's supposed to probably sit here. But I prefer to sit there, and that's fine. You have your gun sitting there, which, and we'll get in that articulation, your 2 gas cans, your fire axe, and the rear hitch. And then the only 2 things that don't have anywhere to go is Clutch's wrench, which looks like it goes in his tool belt on his pants. Okay, cool. And his shotgun. So they account for everything. I'm not mad. I really love when they actually gave me places to holster weapons and things, because who the hell wants a toy that you can't actually put everything where it's supposed to be? The only thing that's left out is the shotgun, and that's fine. Whoever's riding shotgun will be using the shotgun. Let's see if these things can do a squat. And of course, the Clutch cannot do a squat. It has no articulation, but let's look at its moving parts. Rolling wheels, suspension, ooh, bouncy. Look at it bounce. I like. The turret moves up and down, left and right, so good movement there. The handles can move in and out. The wheel is not attached, but it can move. The front visor does come down. Probably should move the 2 things in front if you want to push it down all the way. You can adjust the lamps, but every time that I move them, they fall right off. And then the hoist does pull all the way out, so if you do need to pull something and go off-roading, you can. Now let's see if there's a way to pull it back in without winding it back manually, and there isn't. So I'm going to have to wind that back manually, and that's what I was referring to about. But the light coming off. But this is actually a really cool toy. I'm really excited. It's I thought it would be a little bit bigger because of the vehicle, but for what it is, it's decent. For the amount of money you're paying for it, decent. I do like it. As you can see from my previous videos, this thing's actually smaller than a lot of the vehicles I have. It's smaller than the Batmobile in width and in length. It's smaller than Lobo's Space Bike. Those things were way longer. And am I disappointed in this? No. Do I wish it was a little bit bigger? Yes, width wise at least. This is kind of one of the smaller vehicles. It's not as big as the Thunder Tank. It's definitely bigger than the SH Figuarts vehicles that they have for the Kamen Riders and Akiba Ranger, but I wish this was a little bit bigger. I wish it was a little bit taller. I wish it was a baller. I wish I had a girl that looked good. I would call her. But other than that, really cool vehicle. There's something you can do. You can have them displayed with your Cobra figures. If you have Trouble Bubbles or you have other vehicles, the Striker, I do not. You can actually have do some really cool set pieces with that. I love the fact that it has suspension, but unless you're like heavy into playing with it, and most collectors that I know, they don't actually play with their toys in the way they used to when they were little. I think this is a little overkill, and I appreciate it, but I'm not going to have an action shot where he's jumping off and you get to see the suspension landing and you get to see all that. I'm going to say most people won't have that kind of shot. So if you could take out stuff like that and save a little bit of money, I would actually appreciate that, just because I know from my use case, and I'm pretty sure I'm like most use people, that yes, I'm taking a couple of cool shots, put them on the gram or Twitter, and then call it a day. But as for fully taking advantage of the suspension, absolutely not. And for the price, definitely not letting my son play with this, because he'll destroy it. But let's take a look at Clutch and see if he can do a squat. Take off his helmet. So he has bicep swivel, double jointed elbow. Really good job hiding the double joint on this one. So he's already there. He has the articulation in his waist and his torso, but is hindered by the vest, so he won't be able to actually get his chest out. He has bad hips, but he does have double jointed knees, and he's not getting much range out of that knee. He can almost kick his own butt, not bad. Can he squat though? The answer is kind of, sort of. He has the articulation for it, but he has bad hips and he has no articulation in his chest because of the vest. So he can get into some decent poses, but he's not going to get into a full-blown squat. So that means no superhero posing, but you don't really expect that from G.I. Joe. You're expecting a classified figure to get into a soldier stance, a dynamic shooting stance or something like that. Not, I'm a superhero and I gotta show you guys how badass I am by jumping from a building and landing and damaging my knees. So doesn't get a pass on if he can squat, but he has really good articulation. And the money, I believe this thing was going for $100, and you have to pre-order it, and you're probably not going to find it unless Hasbro decides to re-release it. And they just don't do it that often, especially with classifieds. They kind of respect the collectors and just let the collectors handle everything. So we saw that with Serpentor and Dr. Mindbender, even though Dr. Mindbender did get a couple of re-releases. Hopefully this one does, so that everyone who wanted it gets it. But worth $100? Not so much. Like I said, tab is small. Love the accessories. Love clutch. But basically you're saying that this is a $25 vehicle in this toy, and that's a $75 vehicle. And that is where my complaint is that, yeah, it's a cool vehicle, but it's more like a $50 vehicle. 1 second, let's check. Yeah, $100. So that means that at a normal classified price, this is a $25 figure, and that's a $75 vehicle. And it's not really a $75 vehicle. It's more like a $50 vehicle. I love it. It's a cool vehicle. If they were down $25 more, absolutely say no brainer. At the price now, I say, hey, you know, if you can get a discount on it, cool. Do not pay secondary market prices for it unless you're a diehard G.I. Joe fan and you missed out on the vehicle the first time. Otherwise, wait till another vehicle comes out that is a more reasonable price. Anyway, guys, that's it for me, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.